The adventurer's journey took an unexpected turn as a notification emerged. It boldly declared that they had obtained the coveted Dual King's silver, an impressive sum of 1,500 heads. These heads could be bartered through the enigmatic proxy clan, or even traded among the select few who had been fortunate enough to receive this unique reward. But there was more to their fortunes than just the silver. The adventurers had also reaped a bountiful harvest of 15,000 heads and the elusive Dual King's gold. Soman, one of the adventurers, couldn't help but feel an exhilarating rush of excitement as she beheld the magnitude of their newfound rewards. Amidst the jubilation, John, another member of the party, found himself contemplating an enigmatic artifact. A peculiar glove, imbued with an eerie green aura, had found its way into his possession. It was revealed to be the Dual King Aura Gloves, an item with a singular attribute, the enhancement of concentration. However, an unfortunate side effect accompanied this newfound power, a wretched stench that could only be described as revolting. To soothe John's apprehensions, Namyung, the experienced sage of their group, offered his wisdom. He explained that concentration was not limited to improving one's accuracy in combat. It held immense utility in crafting magical items and harnessing the arcane arts. As for the noxious odor, Namyung assured John that it would gradually dissipate, sparing him from long-term olfactory misery. Yet curiosity got the better of John, and he couldn't resist the urge to take a whiff of the offensive glove. The outcome was less than desirable, as the stench overwhelmed him, causing him to retch uncontrollably. Namyung offered little consolation, informing John that the smell would plague him for an excruciating 3-year duration. With the matter of the Dual King's silver and gold settled, their journey ventured further into the unknown. Namyung unveiled the centerpiece of their quest, a tantalizing promise beckoning in the distance. It took the form of the Dual King's old keys, enigmatic artifacts believed to unlock the fabled treasure chamber. Evidently, there was a key for each of the adventurers, further heightening their intrigue. Soman, brimming with curiosity, sought to decipher the significance of a mysterious map. Namyung, the resident sage, enlightened her. The map, when utilized in conjunction with a specific scroll, had the mystical power to conjure forth a dungeon within the treasure chamber. A peculiar feature of this dungeon was that it would separate the adventurers, and Namyung cautioned them against any surprise at finding themselves alone in this eerie labyrinth. As if to seal their fate, he entrusted them with the keys to the Dual King's treasure chamber. The adventurers now faced a momentous decision, for they had to choose one of the doors that lay before them. Namyung underscored a crucial caveat. Once a door was crossed, there would be no return. The gravity of this decision weighed heavily on Soman as she pondered her options. John, on the other hand, sought counsel from Namyung, inquisitive about the optimal choice. In response, Namyung admitted his limitations. He had not traversed this path in his prior existence, and thus could not offer definitive guidance. The only nugget of wisdom he could impart was the knowledge that the previous conqueror had secured the crown of Kundal, a relic designed for necromancers and of limited use to their party. For John, it was a moment of reflection, realizing that despite Namyung's claim to a second life, vast mysteries still shrouded his existence. With a sense of urgency, Namyung prodded them forward, reminding them that Myung, their waiting comrade, was likely growing impatient. As they advanced further into the unknown, their journey took them to a colossal gate, dwarfing even Jor's East Gate. Their expectations aligned with reality as they discovered the enigmatic doors before them, each adorned solely with a name and bereft of any explanatory details. Amidst the anticipation and ambiguity, Namyung recognized an item from his past life, Murun's thorn blade. It was a pair of twin daggers that had once belonged to the Japanese demon hunter Shinomiya. Namyung's wisdom led him to conclude that it held little significance in the present, and he opted to leave it behind. Continuing down the corridor of doors, Namyung stumbled upon a revelation that filled him with elation. This discovery had been the subject of whispers and rumors, but now it lay before him. The Balancer's Book. Namyung opens the door and goes inside the room and sees the book. With a purple aura enveloping it, the book held the allure of a top-tier magical artifact. It was a treasure beckoning him to unveil its secrets. Meanwhile, John and Soman, seated together, watched as Namyung emerged from the portal, carrying with him the weight of their decisions. They eagerly shared the fruits of their choices, but it was evident that the information at their disposal was as mysterious as the choices they had made. Soman proudly displayed her bracelet of the Lake Fairy, an exquisite accessory that could bestow healing effects upon her as she slumbered. It also possessed the unique ability to enhance her magical prowess, a choice that Namyung deemed wise. Jian, on the other hand, presented a sword as his chosen item. Namyung couldn't help but express his disappointment, for it appeared that the option of a bow had not been available. Jian's reasoning was simple. He had chosen the sword because it sounded cool to him. This explanation did not sit well with Namyung, who had hoped for a more strategic selection. Beyond the confines of their immediate surroundings, outside the dungeon, the brave soldier and their stalwart comrade, Namyung, found themselves locked in fierce combat against the relentless hordes of goblins. The soldier commended the effectiveness of the weapon Namyung had bequeathed to him, recognizing its remarkable prowess in battle. However, as the battle raged on, it became apparent that even with their combined strength, the goblins seemed endless. Weariness began to gnaw at their stamina, and Namyung, in a moment of jest, inquired about the whereabouts of their platoon's stamina king. The soldier's response was not one of humor, but rather a challenge to Namyung's resilience. Their situation grew even graver as a horde of goblins bore down upon them, threatening to overwhelm the small group. Desperation set in as the other soldiers, pushed to their limits, pleaded with their squad leader to consider a retreat. Yet Namyung remained resolute, urging them not to surrender, and to fight on until at least one more goblin had fallen. Then, in a fateful moment, a goblin hurled a deadly dagger in their direction. Namyung, quick to react, positioned himself in front of his comrades, taking the full force of the attack. As the blade found its mark and Namyung collapsed to the ground, an ominous realization dawned. The goblin's weapon was poisoned. The soldier, aware of the dire situation, urged Namyung to retreat immediately for the much-needed treatment of his grievous wound. Namyung, despite his agonizing condition, summoned the last vestiges of his strength and, in a stirring declaration, instructed the soldier to continue the battle. He was no longer just a soldier but Kang Hojin, and his comrades would bear witness to his transformation. In response to Namyung's call, the soldier, known as the ogre Kang Hojin, embraced his inner beast and surged forward, determined to confront the goblins with an indomitable spirit, ready to face the relentless goblin horde with every ounce of his strength. In a world gripped by intrigue and looming prophecies, a man stood before a camera, ready to share an extraordinary tale with the world. The news reporter leaned forward. This man, an eyewitness to a recent, unimaginable event, began recounting the astounding display of valor he had witnessed. He described how two figures, Namyung and Hojin, had valiantly taken down wave after wave of goblins in a frenetic battle. It was a spectacle that left no room for doubt. Their prowess was awe-inspiring. What truly stoked the fires of intrigue were the reporters themselves. They couldn't help but draw parallels to the words of a British actor who, in a press conference, had hinted at the arrival of prophets, saviors destined to rescue the earth from its impending doom. Were Namyung and Hojin the prophesied messiahs? Yet the man who had witnessed the tumultuous battle had a different perspective. He offered a nuanced interpretation that defied the grandiose label of prophets. To him, these figures weren't emissaries of hope. They appeared more like harbingers of destruction. The scene unfolded once more, where goblins, taken aback by the emergence of Hojin, aptly nicknamed the ogre, found themselves in a state of shock. But as the saying goes, there's always a bigger fish. A colossal goblin warrior stepped in, its towering form dwarfing those who had come before. It shielded a smaller goblin, compelling it to withdraw from the impending confrontation. Namyung, ever astute and quick to assess, noted that while this goblin warrior was smaller than the one he had faced earlier, the prospect of Hojin confronting it alone remained daunting. It was a testament to the immense challenge that lay before them. A brilliant idea sparked in Namyung's mind as he scanned the scene, his gaze settling on a nearby vehicle. As the goblin warrior launched its assault upon Hojin, a battle of titanic proportions unfolded. Hojin deftly blocked the initial attack, countering with a powerful punch that struck the goblin squarely in the abdomen. The goblin, taken aback by the strength of this human adversary, couldn't comprehend the force behind the blow. Hojin, often referred to as the ogre, had unlocked a unique state that defied ordinary human capabilities. In this state, Hojin had mastered the art of controlling his breath, deliberately reducing the blood flow to his brain. This strategic compromise, which may sound perilous, allowed Hojin to redirect that blood into his muscles, granting him superhuman strength and enhancing the regeneration of his muscle fibers. The goblin warrior, bewildered by this extraordinary feat of strength, found itself on its knees after Hojin's mighty strike. Sensing the imminent danger, another goblin leaped in, attempting to stab Hojin, but the attack had little effect, and the goblin met a swift and merciless demise. However, the goblin warrior, not one to be easily vanquished, unleashed a furious punch upon Hojin, sending him sprawling to the ground. In a lightning-quick maneuver, the goblin leaped onto Hojin's abdomen, as the fatal flaw of the ogre state is that because of the ogre state is restricting the blood flow to the brain, which means it cannot be maintained for a long period of time, and usually humans die within a few tens of seconds with blocked brain blood flow, but because the ogre state doesn't completely block the blood flow to the brain, so it can last for a little over 5 minutes. But nevertheless, Hojin doesn't have much time left, as the remaining time is only 1 minute. Then Myung with the car comes straight to the goblin warrior and hits it. As Myung comes out the car and checks if Hojin is okay, then Myung is surprised to see that goblin is alright and is coming towards them. Then we see that goblin is crying. Seeing goblins tear, Hojin gets mad as these goblins have killed a lot of soldiers and civilians, and Hojin doesn't get why the goblin is angry. And now Hojin get more angry and goes into rage mode, but the remaining time left in ogre state is only 6 seconds. And both the goblin and Hojin charges towards each other and punches their best punch to each other, and the goblin is taken down and Hojin is on the edge as well, and Myung is completely drained too, and Hojin tells Myung that he can't get up either. They both thinks that this is how they are going to die, seeing all the other left goblins closing in on them. Myung in a cool way tells Hojin that as people say heroes die young, and thinks this wasn't a bad life. Then suddenly he hears something and sees that all the goblins around him gets freezed in ice. And it's none other than Namyung, and he tells them good job hanging in there. Hojin is surprised to see Namyung, and Namyung tells him to leave everything to him and take some rest. In the wake of their relentless battle, Namyung's incredible power shone brilliantly. With a mere gesture, he froze the remaining goblins in intricate ice formations, suspending them in a state of suspended animation. Beside him, Somin and Jeon showcased their remarkable combat prowess, vanquishing several goblins with well-practiced ease. The trio now stood united, their collective strength undeniable. But as the last goblin succumbed to the inevitable, he remarked that the ordeal they had just faced seemed like child's play compared to their previous encounter with the Ghoul King. In the midst of the action, Myung's curiosity got the best of him, and he turned to Namyung with an inquisitive expression. He wanted to know how Namyung had arrived at the scene without a vehicle, considering that the Shinchan station, a likely transit point, should have been teeming with goblins. Namyung, with his characteristic calm, unveiled the answer. They had indeed passed through the Shinchan station, but rather than succumbing to the goblin horde, they had taken the fight to the enemy, eliminating every last one of them along the way. Myung couldn't hide his admiration for Namyung's resourcefulness and courage. Jeon, ever keen to discern their next course of action, posed an important question. With their newfound strength and a plan to rescue his father, he was ready to execute the next phase of their mission. His inquiry pertained to the elixir needed to heal his father, but it came with an intriguing twist. Jeon recalled Namyung's mention of acquiring elixir with their dungeon rewards. However, he couldn't help but wonder how they would amass the required 400,000 heads for such a substantial purchase. Namyung's response offered a tantalizing glimpse into his foresight. He clarified that the heads for this purpose wouldn't come from the dungeon reward itself. Somin, her curiosity fully piqued, leaned in to ask Namyung about the reward he had procured within the dungeon. Namyung did not keep her in suspense and produced a remarkable item, the Book of Balansar. But it didn't end there. The real secret lay in the book's ability to summon additional items by using material as a catalyst. Somin contemplated the implications. Using a rare material would surely yield the most significant benefits, but she wondered if the choice to do so was worthwhile. Namyung, never one to leave questions unanswered, reached for the rare locket they had acquired in the dungeon. Namyung's actions triggered a series of events. The Book of Balansar activated, consuming the material and providing a notification about the item grade it would summon. The room seemed to come alive as the book radiated a brilliant light, transforming into the highest grade item, the Book of the Great Balansar. Namyung unveiled the book's unique capabilities. By offering a single material, they could procure a higher grade item of the same type. The range of potential items spanned from magic to epic, with the summoned item's grade always exceeding that of the material. The Book of the Great Balansar came with extraordinary power and potential. Namyung had a solution ready and presented Myung's sword, the highest grade item currently in their possession. The book transformed the sword into an epic grade weapon known as the Sword of Penitent Tyran. A notification provided insight into the sword's origin, revealing it to be a creation of the executioner Tyran, forged from the remnants of his own weapon as he sought redemption. The blade, having absorbed much blood, harbored unique properties. blood could activate a special power within it, making it a formidable weapon indeed. Myung, now elated at the prospect of Namyung's ability to use necromancy, couldn't hide his enthusiasm. The newfound potential was a gift that would serve them well in the battles to come. He expressed his gratitude, recognizing the impact this change would have on their future endeavors. Myung was eager to identify his next weapon of choice, given the transformation of his previous sword. Namyung didn't disappoint, handing him the sword that had demonstrated the power to freeze the goblins. Myung was intrigued and eager to wield it, yet Namyung offered a crucial piece of advice. Namyung emphasized that John had selected the sword with great care, and it was not a random choice. It was a reflection of his understanding of swordsmanship. Myung accepted this guidance, recognizing the importance of wielding the sword with respect for its true potential. With the pressing matter of their head's requirement for the elixir in mind, John raised a valid concern. Namyung's response was nothing short of astonishing. He revealed that he had already secured the necessary 400,000 heads by eliminating every goblin in Sinchon Station. For his efforts, he had earned the title of Goblin Ruler, granting him access to the Goblin Vault and a haul of 550,000 heads. Jun couldn't help but be impressed by Namyung's resourcefulness and the sheer scale of his accomplishments, and they now had the means to secure the elixir for Jun's father. Namyung, now in control of the situation, outlined his plan for the immediate future. He instructed Myung and Hojin to attend the impending press conference, a move that left them both perplexed. Myung and Hojin's fatigue was undeniable, and dealing with the media might seem like an unexpected task given the circumstances. Namyung clarified that this strategic maneuver would serve to protect his identity and keep the other prophets unaware of his true role. With reassurances from Myung and Hojin that they could handle the media scrutiny, Namyung's plan was set in motion. Their growing popularity was a testament to his foresight, as the world's eyes increasingly turned to these enigmatic saviors. As the group prepared to part ways, they exchanged farewells, knowing that the path forward held both challenges and opportunities. Their journey took them to a nearby hospital, where a chilling discovery awaited them. The presence of a few goblins, even with the deployment of police and military forces, shouldn't have thrown a hospital into such disarray. Jun, pressed by concern, informed Namyung that his father was in the intensive care unit, adding urgency to their quest. Jun led the way, anxiety etched on his face as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors, searching for his father's location. But as they advanced further down the corridor, a cry for help reached Namyung's ears. His instincts guided him to the source of the distress, while the children continued down the hall. There, Namyung discovered a woman on the ground, her face etched with fear and exhaustion. Quickly, he offered his assistance. The woman described the horrors that had unfolded in the hospital, where a group of suspicious individuals had wreaked havoc and devastation. They had murdered countless innocents and harvested their heads, leaving a trail of death in their wake. Yet, to Namyung's surprise and horror, the culprits were not goblins, but humans. As Namyung pieced together the woman's story, as she asked Namyung to help her in getting up, Namyung picks her hand and helps her get up quickly. Then the scene shifts to the kids, where Somin heard some noise behind her and wonders what is going on, and John tells her he didn't hear anything and tells her to keep running. Somin sees that her dad has also disappeared and wonders where did her father go to. John tells her that it's her father's second life, had recalled something significant and departed urgently. In light of the circumstances, searching for him would have to wait. Resigned to this reality, Somin agreed to accompany John to check on his father's condition, recognizing that their current situation required their immediate attention. The narrative shifted once more to Namyung, who found himself face to face with a female assailant, her sinister intentions laid bare. Her weapon, a ring harboring a shaken's needle, was poised for a deadly strike. With a calculated move, Namyung sidestepped her attack, narrowly escaping the fate she had planned. The woman, seemingly undeterred, inquired about Namyung's keen instincts and how he had managed to elude the poison's effects, which had incapacitated most of the hospital's occupants. Namyung attributed his survival to the runes of legerdity he had acquired from a dungeon, a precious boon that had granted him extraordinary agility. The woman, her face twisted by malice, acknowledged the newfound emergence of runes and the riches they could bestow. She couldn't hide her sinister glee at the prospect of claiming Namyung's rewards. Yet beneath his veneer of calm, Namyung remained steadfast. With unwavering determination, he reminded her that his heart belonged to another, his beloved wife, making it clear that her advances would go unanswered. With frustration and contempt in her eyes, the woman revealed her true colors. She was not content to simply take his rewards. She intended to take his life. A malevolent smile curved her lips as she advanced, confident in her abilities. Nangun, unyielding and resolute, met her challenge head-on.